Okay, hi, welcome to the weekly webinar, and I'll say for the purposes of the recording, thank you for those who joined a bit early and did the walk with us. I feel refreshed, and I hope you do too. If you missed it and you want to try the 5-minute energy boost again, we'll do it at the end of the talk today. But in the meantime, our usual housekeeping notes. Thank you for being here. Please make sure you're muted so we don't get background noise, although I'm the only speaker for today, so it won't be too bad, I think, if you don't mute. I do have the power to mute you, and I will if I need to, only because we want the things to process easily. Other housekeeping notes, you can enable closed captioning as you choose to. We are now recording, so this will be online later today, but not the part with the exercise, I promise. And I think that might be it for the announcements. So let's go to our speaker for the day is me. If anybody is wondering, why is she the speaker so often lately? Well, I love speaking, but also it's summer and folks are busy, and sometimes I can't get a speaker. So I find myself always willing to step in the gap, and it's been good for me because it makes me use my brain. I hope it's good for you. I have good news for you for the rest of this month. I'm not the speaker anymore. So you'll get to hear from someone else, I promise. I mean, I'm still going to be here, but someone else will be speaking, and I'll tell you about that once we get to that end of the program. And we've got some really great topics coming up I think you're going to love. So with that said, let's go to today's topic. I am going to share my screen again because I have some wonderful things to show you on some slides. And while I do that, I'll tell you all that any of you who were wanting to attend the training room last month, the dementia training room that we had, if you didn't get a chance to do that, I will tell you that we will be repeating the training room in 2026. Don't have a date yet. Probably summer, because it seems like people really liked the summertime. We didn't have to worry about snow or any of those other interfering things. People seem to have more free time, although the way the training room is designed, you can come for just a little bit of time or all day. So you don't have to devote a whole day to it. So anyway, we're working on that. We'll let you know as soon as we know, but just know it will be next year that we repeat the training room. But I mentioned that because today's topic about keeping it moving and doing exercise for care partners and people with dementia is one of the topics that we talk about at the training room, except for at the training room, we don't get the 5-minute energy boost. I added that myself. So you're getting something extra that the people at the training room didn't get. And so I'm going to present for a little bit of time about exercise and moving with a couple of disclaimers. One, do not do any exercise or anything other than a 5-minute video on the webinar without talking to your healthcare provider first. 2, I'm a social worker, not an exercise trainer. I'm not a physical therapist. I'm not anything with any sort of legitimate credentials in terms of exercise. I'm just someone who loves what I do and who borrows knowledge from a lot of people who love what they do and have the letters behind their name to attest to that. So those are all the boring legalese things. And so now I want to go back to sharing my screen. I found what I want, and I will get it in the right place momentarily. One more click. Come on, there you go. All right, so at this point, I'm going to talk from the slides. I'm probably not going to be able to see the chat too well, so be patient with me, and I will get to questions in the chat when I get to the last slide, if that's okay with everybody. It has to be, because that's what we're going to do. So today we're going to keep moving with Kelly G and talk about some exercise options for people with dementia and their care partners. Something else I did want to mention about that video that we did, and that video is really for anybody who wants to try it or can do it, and I'll put the link in the chat. It is not specifically for someone with dementia. And there are some folks with dementia who I think could follow that and do a good job with it. There's no such thing as a good job or a bad job. But there are some folks with dementia for whom that might not be a particularly good video for lots of reasons. So I don't want you to think that video is specifically for this audience. It is just something fun I wanted to try. Okay, and we'll talk more about some more dementia-friendly activities here in our slides coming up, if they will advance. Come on, slides, you can do it. I have faith in you. There we go. Okay, so why move? What benefits are there of exercise? I mean, I think a lot of us think, exercise, that doesn't sound like something I would enjoy, or that's painful, or that's hard, or I don't have time, or any number of reasons, which are all valid. It's okay to feel that way. But when it comes to the benefits of exercise for both people with dementia and their care partners, who might be their spouses, their children, their grandchildren, their neighbors, their friends, their fellow attendees at an adult daycare, you see what I'm saying? Anybody? There's some really good benefits. Engagement. I mean, I think I got at least a few of you, I got your attention. You showed up early and said, let me check this out. Some of you even said, why am I seeing an exercise video on my screen? And you weren't quite sure, and hopefully you stayed. So it makes us feel boosted, I hope, just like those brain boosters you all do every week in the newsletter. Exercise can give you some boosting benefits. Exercise absolutely will help you sleep better because you get tired and you use your energy, and your muscles move and your bones move and your body moves. And so when it's time to go to bed for the night, you will sleep better because you've participated in some exercise. Exercise is also a stress reliever and a mood lifter. I mean, you've probably heard of the concept of endorphins, right? And so when you move your body and you do something that gets you going, you release all kinds of fun chemicals. And your brain says, well, we're feeling pretty good here. At least that's what we hope happens. It won't happen the same way for everybody, but it should, generally speaking, be a stress reliever and a mood lifter. Exercise both requires and can enhance our mobility and our independence. Now, this video that we showed and we walked through was absolutely targeted at people who have a fairly good amount of mobility and independence. I mean, you've got to be able to stand up for 5 minutes. You don't have to match the pace of the video, but you can. If you can't do that because of mobility challenges or any other reasons, please don't feel like you have done something wrong. You haven't done anything wrong. We just need to find you another video or another opportunity. But if you're there and you're thinking, well, I'd like to try that, I'm not sure about that, this one's a pretty low-key activity. You can try it. You can't do it wrong. You can always press pause or stop and go find something else. And so you can work with it. We at the ADRC have talked in all the time I've been here, in the 20 years that the ADRC has been in existence, in all of its iterations, we've talked about how brain health is so important, of course. And when our heart is strong, when we exercise our bodies, that benefits our brain also. So if nothing else I say convinces you, know that exercise is good for your brain. And it deepens our relationships. If you're getting up to walk with somebody, you got to have something to say to keep your mind off the fact that you still have 3 miles to go, right? So you can come up with partnerships and relationships. I will take the liberty of saying my mom, who has joined us today, gets up before the sun on Saturday mornings and walks with a wonderful group of ladies. And I am so happy about that. I love her telling me the stories and the gossip that they get into when they are out walking. So many benefits. Before I go to the next slide, I see some things in the chat. I just want to make sure I'm not missing something. Okay, thank you. All right, so I'm going to go to the next slide here any minute now. Okay, so let's talk about what counts as exercise, because probably a lot of us think exercise, oh no, I got to lift weights and I got to run 26 miles and I got to go swimming, and the swimming part doesn't sound too bad, but we think of it very often as something that is very intentionally athletic and very much like a sport, or that we need to do something that, an elite athlete, we got to be Patrick Mahomes out here or something. And that's not necessarily the case. I mean, if Patrick Mahomes, if you are watching this today, great job. Please win on Saturday and all of the games. But if you're not an athlete like that, you can still do other exercises. And here's a list of just a few things that you might not have even counted as exercise before, but I'm telling you, they are. Walking to your mailbox. I mean, if you have to walk more than a step to the mailbox, that counts. Taking your dog out for a walk, your dog is always excited, right? Have you ever met a dog that wasn't happy to be on a walk? I haven't. So taking the dog out, even if you just walk in front of your house, walk in your backyard, walk inside your house for when my least favorite season of winter comes and you don't want to be outside. Walking up and down your stairs in your house. I have 16 stairs from the main level of my house up to the top where my bedroom and my bathroom are. And because I mostly work from home, I walk up and down those stairs a lot. And that's good. That's good to keep moving. That's good to have my muscles working. It's good for making remember, like, why did I go down these stairs? I better get everything I can while I'm down here. So when I go back up, I don't have to repeat this. Or if I do have to repeat it, it's just another lap. Speaking of laps, you can do laps around your living room or your yard. So you don't have to run a marathon. You don't have to run. You just got to move. You don't really have to unless you think it might be a good idea. You can toss a bag, a bean bag, a softball, a balloon, something that, is pretty unlikely to break itself or something else. You can kick a ball. You can do some stretching. Stretching you can even do while you're sitting and watching your favorite TV show. I'm stretching right now. So any or all of those things above, and any or all of a list of things that you come up with that you think would be motivating for you. The best exercise to do is the one you will do. The best time to do it is when you will do it. There's no magic potion. Clocks don't know that you're exercising or not. So you see those articles on the internet that say things like, read this one weird trick for when you're supposed to exercise, and it tells you 3:15 on Thursdays is the time. Well, I say about that, 3:15 on Thursdays is okay because the webinar is over by then. 2:00 on Thursdays is a terrible time to exercise unless you're with me on the webinar. But the truth is that it doesn't really matter what time you exercise at this point. And everything I've said so far, I forgot to say, is true both for you as a care partner, for you as a person experiencing cognitive change, you as a person who just likes to see what I'm up to on the webinar. It's true for all of us. And you make modifications as needed for the person with the disease and for the care partner or for whoever is involved. The goal, 15 minutes a day, that's pretty arbitrary. That was in whoever first made these slides, one of my CCN pals, or Michelle Needens, I think. And so I'll leave it in because she put it there. But if you can't do 15, start with 5. Heck, start with 1 minute a day and build up. The goal really is to move and to do it at a pace and a frequency that is good for you. And how do you know you're doing a good job? If you're enjoying it, or even if you're not enjoying it, but you're doing it because I said so or because you said so. You can think about measuring, did I do this longer today than yesterday? Did I do this faster today than yesterday? Did I find a meaningful conversation while I was doing this? In other words, you can gauge your success at this in ways that don't have anything to do with a scale or anything medical. Although if that is your motivation, great, do that. But exercise does not have to be about winning something. It doesn't have to be about changing your body unless that's what you want. It doesn't have to be about checking anything off of a list. It just has to be about bringing you some joy. And it's a meaningful activity to do with your loved one and with your community. All right, I'm going to go to the next slide. So you don't really need a lot of fancy things. You don't really need anything. As you saw in our 5-minute walk, we didn't need anything but our legs. And a lot of that walk you could do seated. You can move your legs up and down or side to side while you're sitting, or you could do just your arms on the part where she said, raise your arms and put them out to the side. So there are adaptations. If you do want to add something, you need something to put in your hands, you can think about what's just already in your house. Towels or resistance bands, anything that make your muscles kind of, there's a word I can't think of, but makes your muscles do what muscles do, like strength training and resistance. Anything that you have to hold and squeeze or pull or push is a good thing to have. Canned goods are great because canned goods typically have what, maybe 8 or 16 or 24 ounces. So everybody remembers from math class, 16 ounces is a pound, right? So if you've got a pound in each hand, that's 2 pounds of extra weight you're moving, and your muscles will really like that. And then the bonus part is when you're done, you can eat them. So you can have your fruit or your veggies. Then you got empty cans, but you can put those in the recycling and go buy yourself some more. Or if you're never going to eat that can of peas because, like me, you think peas are gross, use them for your exercise weights. I approve. That's fine. If you have official hand weights, and they have those at the Dollar Tree and the Five Below anymore, so you can get some cheap. Those are also nice to hold in your hands as you move around. You could just walk around your house holding your hand weights to give yourself a little extra boost. You always want a good chair to sit in. The chair I'm sitting in is a terrible chair. It's not that it's not comfortable, but it has wheels. And I do not recommend sitting in a chair with wheels while you do exercise because you might go and find yourself across the room. Athletic shoes with good soles are important. I have on a pair of Skechers that I love. They make me feel tall. My ankles get a lot of hugging. I can walk a long distance with them. So get yourself some good athletic shoes. Wear comfortable clothing that's not going to pull at you or squeeze you or make you not able to move. And then my favorite thing on this list, music. Always a good idea. I can't imagine doing any kind of exercise without some kind of tune in my head, even if I have to sing it myself. And then the last point on here says most important. I don't know, I think music might be it for me, but most important, a positive approach. Don't think of it as a slog or a punishment or, oh no, I have to exercise, and if I don't, I'm a bad person. Take that out of your mind. Think of it as your time to do something fun for yourself with your loved one to boost your brain. Okay? All right, so next slide. A good exercise routine includes a warm up and a cool down. There are longer versions of that exercise video that we did at the start of the webinar today. And in the longer versions, the leader of that video does more slow walking at first, and then builds up to a higher intensity, and then relaxes down to very slow movement. So you want to start low, you want to go up to a higher peak, and then you want to gently bring yourself down. So you want to get your heart rate up, but then you don't want to just stop, because then your heart will say, oh no, what is happening? So you want your heart to gently slow down, and then let your brain signal to the rest of your body that you're finished with your exercise. You want to do some strengthening, so you want to have that muscle building with your canned peaches in one hand and your peas in the other hand. It's really important to make sure that you are balanced as you exercise. One of the greatest risks to any of us as we all age is that our risk for falling goes up. I fell in my house just the other day. I can't remember what day it was. I wrote it down in my journal. I have a known balance issue in my spinal cord, and it has been showing itself over the last year. I have fallen 3 times since June 19th. And it's because I have this thing in my spinal cord that says, ooh, let's have fun. And then I fall. And I know that about myself. And so what I've since learned is that if I keep doing these kind of exercises to strengthen all of me, but especially my middle part, I might be less likely to fall. Now, that hasn't quite come true yet because I keep falling, but I'm working on it. And when you feel more balanced, you feel safer and stronger, then your confidence goes up as well. And then finally, endurance. Endurance is good for your heart and your stamina. You don't have to be fast. You don't have to be quick. You don't have to be the first one to cross the finish line. You can be slow. You can be the very last one. But if you did it, then that means you endured. I remember years ago, probably 15 years ago or so, I was doing a 5K over at Donnelly College in Kansas City, Kansas, for those of you who might know where that is. And I was the very last person to finish that walk. I don't know where my friends were. Did they leave me, or was I just walking by myself? I don't remember. But I was the very last person to finish. And I felt some kind of way about that. But I kept walking. And at one point, the Kansas City, Kansas police came, and they had their lights on. They did not put the sirens on, but they had their lights on. And they came, and they were about, I don't know, a couple car lengths behind me, and they were following me. And I thought, what is happening? And finally, one caught up with me and they said, ma'am, we're just here to keep you safe. You keep walking. You don't have to go any faster. Don't stop. If you want a ride, we'll give you a ride. But otherwise, we're just going to escort you back to the finish line. And I thought, well, isn't that nice? And I felt a little embarrassed, but also I felt very well supported by those officers that followed me all the way back to the end of the 5K. And I got my finisher medal just like everybody else, plus an escort. So who's the real winner? Okay, so our next slide, just some ideas for some options of where you might go to move. If you only want to move at home or that's your only place to move, good for you, not a problem. But I do want to mention some other places. The YMCA is all over this country. You can find a Y in lots of places. They have lots of programs for all ages of people. You may be able to get a membership at a YMCA if your health insurance, like your Medicare, for example, speaking of other things I know a lot about, your Medicare program might give you a Silver Sneakers membership that you can use somewhere like a YMCA. So that's a place to look into. I've got the Jewish Community Center on here because that's my former employer, so shout out to them. The J has some activities specifically for older adults in particular, and would be a great place to try. The BioFit Senior Fitness, that's something that Michelle put into this slide. I didn't get a chance to really look into it, but you can see the link there. And it's specifically a senior fitness program, so you could check that out. We in Kansas City have a heck of a lot of great community centers. We were just at the Matt Ross Community Center last month for the training room, and we could see that they have a great facility for lots of activities, as does Sylvester Powell in Mission, as does Kansas City, Missouri Parks and Recs. And I will even go so far to say that no matter where you live, whether it's Kansas City or somewhere else, your community centers, which are led and funded largely by your city government, they've got a lot of great stuff going on that you can check out. So definitely look into that. And then we look at corporate entities like 24-Hour Fitness, which I think means they're open, not just daytime hours. I think they're open a lot of the time, which might be good for your work schedule, or if you have a restless night, you and your loved one with dementia, and you just need to get out of the house and go burn off some steam. Maybe a 24-Hour Fitness might be a good place. Same for Lifetime Fitness. This is not a commercial for either of those, just a couple of options. And then for those of you who are watching from somewhere that's not Kansas City, I didn't want to leave you out. And this is true for anybody. Eldercare.gov, I've mentioned that on this webinar before, but eldercare.gov is a nationwide locator of all kinds of services, not just exercise, but senior centers, congregate meals, home delivered meals, respite care, all kinds of things. And you can visit eldercare.gov and or call that phone number, give them your zip code, and they'll let you know what kind of activities, including options for exercise, are available to you. The service is free. And if you say, I need to find a service that's not going to charge me any money or a lot of money, they can help you narrow that down too. I haven't mentioned yet that if anybody wants any of these slides after we're done, you know what to do. Send me an email at myalliance@kumc.edu, and I'll be happy to share these slides. Okay, I know that it's almost time to stop, but I got a few more things to tell you. There's a really great Workout to Go booklet that gives some picture ideas for how to exercise. I've got some copies here at the office. You can also get it online. So I will make sure to, if you ask me for these slides, you'll get the link for the Workout to Go booklet if that's something you're interested in. You can also visit the National Institute on Aging website, and they've got a lot of great resources as well. And here is where I put the disclaimer about talking with your doctor before you start any new exercise. Okay, now this is the slide I really want to get to. Music matters. I don't have to explain this to you. Music and movement go together like peanut butter and jelly, or whatever two things you like. We know that music and long-term memory are connected. Even when someone is having more of a hard time with short-term memory, we can turn on, I don't know if anybody turns the radio on anymore, but you turn on your Spotify, your Apple Music, or your car radio, And there probably will be a song that jogs someone's memory. I made a pun and I wasn't even planning on it. Music might jog your memory. I'll have to remember that. Even if you can't remember what you had for breakfast this morning. And of course, the things we do to music, like swaying and clapping, and I never met a song I didn't want to sing along to. And that can make us feel good. That can be a good time for us to connect with our person with dementia. So this is my real favorite part of this slide. Here's a suggested playlist. And these are all songs that most of us, I think, would recognize. And they're songs that we can sing along to, so we can get our breath going, get our heart rate up. They're familiar, they're fun. They even can give us some directions, like check out Twist and Shout. That's a whole workout, right? Twist and shout, twist and shout, and there you are doing your workout. And you can listen to more than one version. You got the Isley Brothers, you got the Beatles. Listen to either, listen to both. Next month, we've got coming up a perennial favorite, September by the Elements, Earth, Wind, and Fire. It even has a shout out to memory in it. Do you remember the 21st night of September, etc., etc.? So that's a real winner. Walking on Sunshine, we've had a lot of opportunities over the last few days in Kansas City to have some sunshine. And Katrina and the Waves really make it feel very joyful. And then when you're ready to slow things down, we can find our friend Bill Withers, who said, if you need me, just call me, lean on me. So that's a few songs I suggest for good moving. You're welcome to put in the chats any other songs that you think are good, and I'll catch those in a moment. Another thing about why music matters, the beats per minute or the tempo of a song can make a difference in how you move. And I'm going to say more about that on the next slide. Some songs have a few beats per minute, they're slow songs, and other ones have a lot of beats per minute and they're more up-tempo songs. And that can help you set your pace and make you feel good and help you keep going while you are doing your exercise. So that being said, I'm going to give you some proof. I mentioned at the beginning how we talked about, you want to start off low and build up. So lean on me. When you're not strong, 80 to 100 beats per minute. So not quite 2 beats per second is a good one to get started with. And you can do your walking in place. You can stretch. And once your muscles are warmed up, you can move up to a faster song like Tammy Terrell and Marvin Gaye. Gosh, what talents, what duets. And that song is between 100 and 115 beats per minute, so almost 2 beats per second. And think about Ain't No Mountain High Enough. You can pretend you're climbing the mountain. Pretend you're on Mount Everest as you walk to Ain't No Mountain High Enough, even if, confession, I think Mount Everest is probably high enough for me, but I get the sentiment. Once you're in the groove, go to some brisk walking, which will get your heart going, and that's your cardio exercise. That's where we come with September, Earth, Wind, and Fire. We're up over 2 beats per second at 115 to 130 beats per minute. From there, you can do some more aerobics. You can sit in your chair, or you can literally walk on, well, maybe not literally, but you can walk on sunshine, and that's even faster. Once you finish that, you're probably, 10 or 15 minutes in, so you want to maybe slow it down a little bit and do some strength work and balance, maybe some of your yoga moves. And here's a good time for the Temptation singing, Just My Imagination, Running Away With Me. And you can run for real, or you can just pretend. Use your imagination. And then finally, as you cool down to a 60 to 80 beat per minute song, so 1 beat per second, calm and relaxing, a really fitting choice for this audience is, of course, Unforgettable. See what I did there? By Nat King and Natalie Cole. Of course, we've got the original version by Nat King Cole, and then that wonderful, I guess, artificial intelligence. I'm not sure how they engineered that, but that wonderful duet version by Nat and Natalie. Just absolutely lovely. And a nice way to cool down and say, that's why, darling, it's incredible that someone so unforgettable thinks that I am unforgettable too. So as I was putting this playlist together, I found a fun fact that I just had to share. So I think everybody probably knows the song La Bamba, originated by Ritchie Valens in 1958. I didn't realize that that song is 75 beats per minute. It's about the same pace as Unforgettable. I mean, think about it. La Bamba and Unforgettable are in that same time frame. Kind of blows my mind. And I thought, I don't remember La Bamba being that slow until I realized that the version I'm more familiar with is by Los Lobos from 1987, and it is twice as fast, 157 beats per minute. So they're singing, para bailar la bamba se necesita una poca de gracia. Y'all know I'm a Spanish speaker and I don't resist any opportunities to share that. So Los Lobos are turning it up. And it's 157 beats per minute. So you can use that version when you want to get into your higher impact cardio. And you'll notice that line I put in there. Para bailar la bamba se necesita una poca de gracia. Indulge me. This song is by a group called Los Lobos. You all know my last name is Loeb. So I've just decided I'm an honorary member of Los Lobos, which also means wolves in Spanish. And then in English, para bailar la bamba se necesita una poca de gracias means to dance la bamba, you need a little bit of grace. And Grace is my middle name. So this song is going on my all-time favorite list at this point. So there's just some examples of songs. You don't need to be so, I don't know, nerdy as to find a song that exactly meets a certain beats per minute, but just think slower songs for when you start and when you finish, faster songs for in the middle. All right, so let's give you a special tip for music and memory. Again, I'm going to repeat that music does tap into long-term memory, even when other types of memory are not as functional. And so if you're looking for a meaningful exercise activity to do with your loved one, think about the music that they loved, especially the music that they might have loved in their younger years. I've been in this Alzheimer's field for 20 years, almost 25 years now, and that's something that people have consistently recognized as a meaningful activity for people with dementia. And 25 years ago, when I would visit long-term care facilities, and they'd say, let's put some music on for the residents, they were playing stuff from, you know, like, I don't remember what year Lawrence Welk was, but it's kind of a joke that nursing homes are always playing Lawrence Welk. So like, I guess like 1930s or 1940s maybe. And that's cool because that's what that audience might have really enjoyed. Well, it's been, you know, 25 years. And I think maybe the current set of residents, cohort of residents that are living in long-term care facilities might be a group of people who, Mom, I hope you don't mind, are in their 70s, who grew up listening to Motown music. And so I'd love to walk into a nursing home today and hear the Temptations and the Jackson 5 and Stevie Wonder doing their thing. And then in another 20, 30 years, when I am in my 70s, gosh, it's more like 20, not 30. But when I'm in my 70s, I want to hear Beyonce, and I want to hear Taylor Swift, and I want to hear Babyface, who is my all-time favorite audience, and most of his music is going to be on the cool down side. And so think about trends and think about what's meaningful to people in terms of what was meaningful for them in their long-term memory. Think about what's culturally appropriate. La Bamba might reach a completely other audience. We can look at music from all over the world to meet the needs of all kinds of people. Songs that are emotionally meaningful, whether they're fun, peppy songs or sad, heart-wrenching songs or somewhere in between, can make our mood better, make us feel more connected. Strong rhythms and words that we can sing along to are really helpful, although it's also fun. Sometimes we don't always know the words to songs, or we think we know the words, but we're getting it wrong. And here's where I'm going to out my mom again. I can't see you, Mom, but I hope you're laughing. Some of you might remember the great rap artist MC Hammer. And he had a song in the, I don't know, the late 80s, early 90s called Too Legit to Quit. Well, my sweet mother thought that Mr. Hammer was rapping do the jerk at work. Which is, you know, not horrible, but that's not what he was saying. And so I love to tease my mom about that. I hope she's still laughing right now. But you can connect with your loved ones about, you thought she was saying what? And that can spark some really fun conversations. And then, you know, of course, let the person choose what their favorite thing is. familiarity is powerful. Reach back to that long-term memory to make some connections. All right, so I have one last slide here, and this is breaking news. You all are the first people outside of a very small group of people, like 5 people who know about this event, and I'm excited to share it with you. We are doing a special music and memory event coming up on October 7th at the Lead Center in Lawrence, and we have called it Brains, Thoughts, and Harmonies. Those of you who might be a Gen X rap fan like I am might recognize that that's a call out to the hip hop group Bone Thugs and Harmony. So we've called our event Brains, Thoughts, and Harmonies, and it will feature my colleague, Dr. Rebecca Lepping, who is a flutist and is in charge of the Power of Music Lab here at KU. She is going to be sharing some insight and some science. She's going to play her flute, and it's going to be fantastic. We also have a great group of students at KU made up of undergraduates and graduate students called Musicians in Medicine. So when they're not, out there saving lives, they're playing music, and they are going to come and perform and talk about how science and music go together. It's going to be free to attend. There'll be free and plentiful parking at the Lead Center. And my colleague Uriel, who is our design guy, is working on a flyer that I hope I can put in our Monday issue of My Alliance with all the information. So stay tuned for that. You're the first to hear about that event. We're really, really excited about having it and exploring further the connection between music and brain health. So keep that in mind. And then, I do have one more slide, and that is next week's speaker. I told you at the beginning, it's not me, finally. It's a name that might be familiar to a lot of you, and that is Mr. Eldine Holtis. You know, he joins us most Thursdays. He always loves to brag about how he's 92 and doing well, living great in Smith Center, Kansas. And I've been wanting to ask Mr. Holtis to tell us his secrets for a long time, and we were able to get it together. So next Thursday, August 14th, Mr. Eldine Holtis is going to talk to us about how age is not a death sentence and how he made it to 92. And he's going to give us some tips and some insight, and I'm just so excited. I can't wait to hear from him. And you'll read more about that in Monday's issue of My Alliance for Brain Health. All right, that is really my last slide. So I'm going to make that stop, and I'm eager to get back to you and see you. Hi, everybody. Oh, my dad. Hi, Dad. See, if I had known he was there, I'd have thought of something funny to say about him. I know something. This is not funny. This is just love. My dad is a great singer. Oh, my goodness. He is so good. He can just, I didn't get that gene from him. I mean, I'm okay. I can sing in a choir, but I can't sing by myself like he does. And he's always singing at church. In fact, my dad and his brother and his nephew, they all got that gene. They sing, they can play the piano without even looking. It's amazing. So, Mom, I don't know, our side, we can play the piano, okay? My mom plays the flute, but my grandmother sounded like a frog when she sang. So she had Alzheimer's too, bless her heart. So anyway, hey, Dad, glad to see you. Music is just so meaningful and powerful. All right, so thank you for your patience. Thank you for trying this experiment out with me. I'm going to check the chat and see if there's anything. I'm sure there's things I want to look at and respond to. I see Mistina, yes, this is going to be available online in probably the next couple of hours. So it'll be available to watch again later. If anybody wants the slides, you can send me an email. And I will be happy to email that out to you and answer any questions. Does anybody have any questions or comments? I know we're a little past our time. I knew that. I planned that. That was totally intentional. 30 minutes is just not enough for me, people, okay? But anyway, if you want to say anything in the chat, you can unmute. I see somebody says, thank you. You're so welcome. Thank you all for doing this. I really had a good time watching the slides and talking to you. I would have been better if I could have seen you laugh at some of my corny jokes. Like, there's the pun, jogging memory. Come on, guys, jogging the memory. That's a good one, right? Give me a little love for that. I'm just pat my own back. Okay, so I am looking at the chat. Oh, I see what my mom, yeah, does anybody remember that song, Almost Paradise? It was from, oh gosh, I just had it in my mind. It's from a movie, something about a rock or a stone. Oh, I cannot think of it. But anyway, it was from the 80s, which was a great time for music. And the line in the song was almost paradise, knocking on heaven's door. And my mom, I don't think my mom was the only one. A lot of people thought that that singer was saying almost parrot eyes, like a parrot and eyes. But why would a parrot be knocking on heaven's door? I don't know. Why would it be a jerk at work? Footloose. Thank you. Footloose. Yeah. Speaking of a great time for music and movies, Footloose is like, I mean, let's hear it for the boy. And Footloose, Kenny Loggins is one of my personal favorites. Kevin Bacon. Anyway, but yes, Almost Paradise is the song. And so misheard lyrics can be just a fun thing. Intentionally or not funny, it can really be a good way to bond as you're doing your exercise and your aerobic. So the link will be posted later today. I will share the link to the 5-minute exercise video. I guess I should give a shout out. The organizer of that video is a woman named Leslie Sansone. She's got, I was going to use a not nice word, a whole lot of videos that you can find on YouTube. If you just type in Leslie Sansone walking videos, she's got 5 minutes, she's got 30 minutes, she's got an hour. She's got some specifically for older adults. She's got one for heart health that she did with the American Heart Association. I love her walking videos. She's got a bunch of them. They're almost all on YouTube. She also has, what do you call them, DVDs. She has an app, I think, that you can use on your iPhone or your iPad. So I will put the link in our My Alliance newsletter on Monday. And there's also another program called Senior, I think it's called Senior Shape. I can't remember. I'll put that one in the newsletter also. She's got a really great 30-minute walking video. So I will share those. I've got a chicken to ride and it's in my hair. Yes. If I had a chicken in my hair, I would beat, what's his name? Maurice Green from Kansas City. He used to be the fastest man in the world. If there was a chicken in my hair, I could beat him in a race because I'm terrified of chickens. I've never seen anybody move that fast if I had a chicken in my hair. But isn't it, it's a ticket to ride, right? It's the right word. So there's a million of these. All right, guys, thank you. And the person who asked if I will put the link to the video, I will put it in the chat if you're still here, if you want to stay. If anybody wants to do the 5-minute walk again, I'm willing to put it up. So stick around. I'll stop recording. In fact, I'll do that now so I don't forget.